Cats are good.
Okay. Okay. Well, I want to welcome everybody to this December the 8th meeting of our regular council here in Central Frontenac. And the first item on the agenda is to approval of the agenda. As moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Sherry Wan, that the rules of the procedural bylaw be amended to move delegations up in the agenda to follow the approval of the minutes and move the appointment of the deputy mayor to follow the committee, other reports and minutes. Are there any additions or other amendments to the to this agenda?
Yes, well, there's one in regards to further on in the agenda will be amended, Tom, is with respect to Andy's report under 8D. I have made some amendments to include outdoor rinks on the resolution, but not in Andy's report, and he's aware of that. So we'll be
so that report. Okay, so that's really not an amendment. That's just a change in the report, right?
No, change in the resolution.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. And further, that the agenda for the regular council meeting held December the 8th be approved as, I guess, amended. Is anybody voting no? Hearing no no's, it's carried. Okay, now we'll pass this over. Now we'll pass it over to, oh, wait a minute, before I get one item here to go. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof on tonight's agenda for any member of council? There being none, was duly noted. And now we'll move to the delegations and
minutes first.
Chair,
I'm sorry?
Minutes.
You got the minutes first, Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Okay, I missed that. Pardon me. Yeah, got the minutes. Okay, moved by Victor Hayes, seconded by Brent Cameron, that the minutes of the November 19, 20 special meeting and the November 24th, 2020 regular meeting be approved. Are there any errors or omissions in those minutes?
Madam Mayor, or I mean, Mr. Deputy
ahead.
Mayor. See, I get used to the Madam Mayor. I just have one, which would be a clarification of F. When I had asked Michael about, it says I asked what loan had been paid off. And actually it was when the Fifth Lake Road would be paid off. So
Okay.
Close, but so that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Any other amendments? Kathy, you make note of that, please.
Yes, I do.
To be approved then as amended. All in, and am I hearing any no's? Great. Sorry, that now we'll move to the delegations. Now I'd like to turn this over to Richard Allen, as the Manager of Economic Development for the County of Frontenac. And Richard, go ahead.
Thank you, and thank you. You have some of the work that we've been doing in our department over the course of the past year. I'm going to try to share my screen, so bear with me as I. Okay. I think that. Can you see my screen?
No.
No.
No. All right. Let's try that again.
Here, it's coming up.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. I haven't done it on this platform yet before, so a little bit.
Cindy, Richard's voice is kind of breaking up. Richard's voice is kind of breaking up. Is there, should we all, everybody mute their mics, or is that causing a problem for anyone else? Sorry.
I would say perhaps suggest that everyone mute and turn off their video except for Richard while he's doing his presentation. That may help.
Yeah, thank you, because it was breaking up.
If it continues, I may have to turn off my video as well. So we'll give it a shot. Thank you. So thank you once again, Council, for having me. I'm grateful to share with you some of the work that we've been doing in the Frontenac Economic Development Department from the county. Today, I'm just going to talk to you briefly about COVID-19, the impact on local businesses and our response. a little bit about the Charlotte Lake Downtown Revitalization project and our role in it. Really, our role was to help get things rolling, and you guys have done a wonderful job moving forward with that. The Frontenac KMP Trail, and then I'll briefly go over some of our plans for 2021.
Richard, could I?
If-
Oh, no, okay, sorry. I just was worried your screen wasn't going to show up with your presentation, but it's there now. Sorry.
Okay. I must have a little bit of a lag here. So as COVID-19 changed all of our lives this year, and as soon as it started to change things for businesses in Frontenac, Allison and I did our best to collect and share information with businesses through email and with a website resource that had active links that connected them to support programs. It became clear to us that businesses were all learning and adapting on their own, and that they could learn from each other. So we started to convene weekly Zoom meetings for our businesses to check in, share how they've overcome, share some of the programs they found, and ask questions that we might go back to find answers to, either from public health or from the province or from our local stakeholders. In fact, we might be having another one of these meetings later this week as COVID cases continue to rise in the Kingston, Frontenac, Lennox, and Addington region. One of the other things that started to happen is as the pandemic evolved and business began to reopen, we noticed that businesses needed support in changing how they did business, protecting their customers and keeping their understanding how to reach new customers or deliver a completely different form of business. Many of our businesses had to pursue and find new local new business, new customers. For example, we have a lot of cottage properties in Central and North Frontenac that serve American audiences who were not able to come up this year. And many of those businesses had to make significant strategic choices about how they would operate this year. We're going to continue to provide support programs, not just financial support, but training in marketing, going digital, becoming more nimble as businesses over the course of 2021. And we'll be working closely with our partners at the Frontenac CFDC to do so. One of the things that we did to respond to COVID-19 was highlight the need to shop local and support our local businesses. And we did this through a series of shop local campaigns. One of the most effective campaigns was our video campaign, where we shot over 24 videos of local businesses across Frontenac County. At least 6 or 7 businesses in Central Frontenac were part of that. And we were able to highlight some of the things that these businesses were doing to keep their customers safe. And we were also able to highlight some of the gratitude and thankfulness that these businesses had for their community who had already been supporting them. Looking towards the holiday season, we also have begun to promote ways for people to easily buy gifts locally, either through curbside, through delivery, or by visiting local shops in order to continue to support that at a time where it's very easy to sit at home and open up Amazon and look for what you want to do. Our local retailers need as much foot traffic as they can to make up for this year. And we're working with a local, it's a search platform for local businesses to get connected. It's called Hey Local. You can visit it by going to heylocal.ca. We're currently populating Frontenac businesses on this platform. So you may not find some of the ones that you're looking for, but they can put their products up there on the search platform, and it can help consumers find whatever gift they're looking for from local retailers rather than through the larger big box, shipping warehouse organizations that have made that very convenient for consumers. One of the other ways that we focused on keeping things local is we did our annual Open Farms event, and this year we had the Rise Farm in Godfrey participate, which is our first farm from Central Frontenac to participate. And highlight them along with a few other farms about the diversity of farming. We have 14 farms that we featured this year in Central Frontenac, South Frontenac, and on Frontenac Islands. And if you go to www.openfarms.ca at some point, you'll see that no two farms are the same. We have an incredible diversity of farming, and I think if we added another 14 farms to the event, you'd see an even more diverse range of types of farms and approaches to farming that Frontenac has to offer. These are just a few of the campaigns that we undertook to get people to shop local, and as I said, we'll continue to promote shopping local as long as we're doing economic development, probably. One of the other pillars of our COVID-19 response was to prioritize tourism marketing and development. The visitors and seasonal residents certainly showed up in 2020, and we can expect that desire and demand for rural experiences to continue in 2021. And so that pressure on our cottage rentals and our rural cabins will remain high, and our businesses and our communities will have to be prepared to manage that kind of pressure, because whether we want it or not, I'm sure there will be a significant influx. Our approach in 2020 was very, very calm. We highlighted outdoor experiences that visitors could undertake. And as the economy reopened, we were able to tie that into accommodations and food options that they might be able to pursue while undertaking their outdoor experiences. So we were focusing on canoeing, camping, fishing. That always known our strengths here in Frontenac County, and we're in very high demand this year. 2021 will be similar in terms of marketing, but we'll look for ways to package those ideas together so that someone might be able to plan a weekend or a time here, and to do it in a safe way where they're able to follow the protocols that the people that we're promoting have in place. Our biggest effort, though, in 2021, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, is to pursue a tourism development plan. And our fourth pillar response to COVID-19 was establish conditions for investment, and we haven't fully gotten to this place yet. And in our business plan, this is to begin in 2021 with the development of a regional incentive program similar to a community improvement plan, where we can take those people who are benefiting or whose businesses are doing well in these current conditions, and they are hiring or growing or investing in our region, and make that a little bit easier for them. It'll take us a while to put that program together, and the county, because of the you've experienced it here, you've seen incredible numbers of building permits in Central Frontenac. We've had a lot of pressure on planning, so we do have to find some resources to put this plan together because we don't have them necessarily in-house. And so we'll be pursuing grant opportunities to find a project manager to lead that kind of program development in 2021. We'll work through some of the technical and governance details of communal servicing. It will transform the way that we do subdivisions and pursue investment in our region. And I'm sure that this council will continue to be updated on how these kinds of projects might benefit our communities going forward. Forgive me if I'm going too fast. I'm just cognizant of council's time, and we do so much, and I want to make sure that you see a little bit of everything we do. I think that downtown Charlotte Lake's looking really fantastic. So kudos to the team that was behind all of the infrastructure work that's taken place this year, and we're really proud about how Tyson was able to approach us in late 2019 and suggest that there was an opportunity for economic development to work hand in hand with the Public Works Department to really elevate the level of revitalization and approach. It's not just infrastructure, it's community development. And Tyson and the team, the entire staff team at Central Frontenac, got on board with the idea of pursuing a downtown revitalization program with the assistance of OMAFRA. So we sat down, we laid out a plan. I helped write a grant, and you have Adriana on the team at the township now, doing the work on the ground to elevate an infrastructure project, which was significant, into a community development project that will help continue the momentum of investment that was sparked through this work. And we're just really proud of the role we were able to play in facilitating the connections and moving that forward in the early days. And I know that Allison has been connected to the project on a regular basis, but it seems to be moving on its own quite well. So we're really excited to see what the results of that project are, and we're really proud to have played a role in the inception of it. Something that we talk about a lot at Frontenac Economic Development is the Frontenac K&P Trail, and this is another example of how Central Frontenac and the County of Frontenac were able to collaborate. We again secured grant funding in a joint grant submission that allowed us to develop the portion of K&P Trail that is currently owned by Central Frontenac, but that we will eventually convey to the County of Frontenac. But we were able to move that infrastructure upgrade ahead because of our partnership. And through this work, we were able to also use the resources in the township office to support our work through accepting deliveries of materials, to providing advice on managing certain infrastructure aspects that, frankly, I don't have a lot of experience with, but your Public Works Department does. And we were able to really forge a great partnership and develop a really incredible vision.
Or Richard, you're breaking up. You're breaking up, Richard.
We pretty good number. goals for employees. Drive in the future. Looking ahead, it's our video series. We have a number of additional videos lined up to shoot. We're luckily we in-house at the shoot these videos. 1 or 2 days a month, put these together, and our businesses have been very thankful for that. Mentioned will be. We'll also be, which is community look at what tourism, where tourism fits in our community. So we'll look at all the pieces, not just the tourism marketing, but like we'll look at the resources for visitors when they arrive, how they can get information about experiences, how they can navigate the community. Our trail tourism, which by some accounts was increased by 400% this year. Certainly in April and May, it was almost our trails were some of the only things that were open to the public to use, to get outside, and they certainly got a lot of use. And since we redeveloped the Sherbet Lake to Clarendon section of the KMP Trail, it is a gorgeous piece of trail, and love visiting it. And so we're going to guide our visitors to the trail, to experience our communities, and ensure that as use increases on the trail, that we're able to manage conflict between different kinds of trail users or our neighbors along the trail. These things require some additional government work, which we again. Finally, I already spoke about the regional incentive program. To me, I think this is a really important piece for us to pursue. If we are able to offer a county-wide community improvement program, we'll be able to support small entrepreneurs in overcoming some of the barriers to investment that are necessary for good development in our region, where we need to do hydrogeological studies, and we need to do traffic studies, and we need to have site plans in place. And we can look for ways to help promote or help support or provide grants to help our burgeoning businesses overcome these barriers as we go forward. A lot, very quick, but I wanted to give you a bit of a sense of what we've been up to and give you a chance to ask me some questions before I disappear. So thank you, and I'll take any questions. And
thank you very much, Richard. That was a good presentation. And
see if I can get my
Bill. I see your hand up there, Bill. Did you want to? Bill, go ahead, Bill. Did you have your hand up, Bill? Go ahead, Bill. You're muted, Bill. Does anybody else?
No, he's muted.
Yeah, Bill. Bill had his hand up for a question, but anybody else have a question? Bill's still
There,
muted.
he comes.
Oh, can you hear us now, Bill?
Can you hear me now?
We can
Pardon?
hear you now.
Okay, I'm just working it out. Richard, there's 2 points I want to make, or want to question. In regard to U.S. citizens who own cottages in this area or in Frontenac County, if they've not been allowed to visit their cottages in over a year, how do we assure them, or how do we provide a service of some kind at which they can actually get a verification that their cottage is in good shape or no damage, no break-ins? I don't know whether you looked at that or considered it, but it's something maybe we should be able to provide. And second comment I want to make, Richard, I've said this to you before, but I want to say it again, is make sure we do not put any gates on the K&P trail north of Charlotte Lake, because they won't stay there. So anyway, you may want to respond to that first question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councillor McDonald. So with respect to the second question, there are no plans to put any gates north of Charlotte Lake on the trail. But in terms of the first question, we do have a business. It's located in North Frontenac. It's called Trillium and Maple Woods, and they actually offer that service where they go and they'll go with a GoPro. So they send video footage back to whoever's property they're inspecting so that they can see that their property is in good shape. And so we actually have entrepreneurs filling that gap and taking that need.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. Does anyone else have a question for Richard? Hearing anyone else? Thank you very much, Richard. I really appreciate your presentation. It was very informative, and thank you for the good work you guys are doing. Hearing no more questions, I have a motion here. It's moved by Victor Hayes, seconded by Nikki Cowdy, that council presentation from Richard Allen, Manager of Economic Development for the County of Frontenac, for information. By hearing anybody voting no.
May I interrupt
Thank
just
you.
for a moment? I'm not sure Victor is on the meeting right now unless he's calling user 3. Victor, are you at the
I am
meeting?
calling user 3. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
perfect. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, sorry. My video, my internet is just not working. Sorry.
Okay, so
But I am
Victor
here.
was not here. Yeah, Victor, he was calling in, right? Okay.
Yes.
Again, no one's voting no, so it's carried. Okay, we'll move on. The next item on the agenda is the mayor's remarks. Chip's on a phone call right now with the Premier of Ontario and the 400 and odd other mayors in the province, talking about how they're going to distribute the vaccine when it gets released in the province of Ontario. So she'll be joining the meeting just a little bit later on. But I think as everyone has probably heard through the media, this area around FLA area is starting to ramp up a little bit. So it wouldn't surprise me if we will be moving from a yellow into the red, probably not too far down the road if things keep going the way they're going. So anyway, I think we should all be safe. And pardon me?
Can I interrupt for just a second?
Go ahead,
We
Kathy.
would go from yellow to orange first before going to red.
Oh, there's an orange.
Yes.
Yeah, there's an
Yes.
orange. Okay, thank you, Kathy, for straightening me
You're
out on that. But anyway, I think it's smart this time of the year. Everybody's out shopping and that, so I think we all should be aware of this and be a little bit safe. Okay, thanks. Next item is deferred items. There are no deferred items,
None.
so we'll move to staff reports. The next item on the agenda is the development services, and let me just get that motion here before we start. It's moved by Elwin Burke, seconded by Bill McDonald. The council received the construction detail report for November 2020, report prepared by the Manager of Development Services for information. Andy, do you want to speak to this report?
This is, sorry, I didn't catch which report.
It's the construction detail report.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a record year. Things are starting to slow down a little bit now, but the numbers are up significantly from last year.
Thank you. I think it would be fair to say, Andy, looking at the dollars, that the homes that are being built now are more expensive. I know that material has gone up in price, but but also looks like the average home has probably increased in value over the last few years.
Yes, they have, Tom. Yeah, a lot of the homes are waterfront, and people are building some nice homes in this area.
Any questions for Andy on the report? Bill, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Andy, are you receiving building permits or requests or information for projects for the new year? Because this is going to be quite a record for you're going to have to beat this next year. So I'm looking for it. What's to look for in the new year in regard to inquiries?
I know of a few that are, I've had discussions with that are preparing for next year. And a lot of these projects that permits have been issued for this year have been put off till next year because they can't find contractors to complete them.
Right. That's really the basis of my question. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Brent, you had a question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's first of all, a comment. Andy, great work. The numbers are great, and they reflect not only the demand, but the work that you and everybody involved have been doing. So thank you very much for that. There was something I could be an ask, not right now, and I wouldn't suggest doing this every single month because the amount of work would just, you're busy as it is. But I'm wondering if maybe once a year we had some breakdown based on district or settlement area. And the reason I say that is obviously is not evenly spread. We see these numbers and they're terrific. But I think it would be instructive for us to know exactly where the development hotspots are in the township. Again, it wouldn't be something that I think would have to be an element of a monthly report. I think you're busy enough as it is. But if we had some sort of summation once a year that gave us a sense of, where the demand is, because it's going to have a knock-on effect on the services we demand on roads, that sort of thing. So, it's not really a request at this time, but something that might be considered going into the future.
Yeah, I could do that, Brent. I'll just have to start putting the district in somewhere on the permit so that I can search them by district. Right now, it's difficult to do that without looking at each one individually. But I can have that. I'll start doing that in the new year, and then we can have a report for the end of next year.
Sure, and again, this is just something more that I think it would be an instructive tool for us. But I'm very reticent to ask for anything that's going to add to already a very, very extensive workload for you and everybody involved. So this is sort of like a wish list down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions for Andy? There being none, is anybody voting no to this report? Hearing none, it's carried. I see our worship is back. Shall I turn control of the meeting back to her worship, Mayor Smith? She's muted there. Cindy. Okay, I don't know. Oh, she's Mayor Smith, you're muted.
Fred, for some reason, your audio isn't working. You're not muted. You may have to log out and log back in again. Sometimes that works, or call in.
Shall I just go ahead with the next report?
Yes, I'm going to say she.
Yes.
Oh, there she is. There she is.
Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
we can. Okay.
And you hear? Oh, okay.
Your
Okay,
worship.
so
We're at H on the agenda, your worship. I'll turn control of the meeting back to our mayor.
okay, are we on?
You're at Development Services, the planning report.
Correct.
Okay, development. Okay, let me get started here.
I had it Sherry
So-
and Bill moving this.
That's what I've got too, Sherry and Bill. Okay.
Very good.
Okay, that council received the planning report prepared by the Development Service Assistant for information. Discussion? Nobody has anything to say? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, is there anybody voting no? Because I can't see all the hands. Okay, there's no, so motion is carried. Next, we have Development Services again. Somebody's moving papers. Septic reinspection program. Moved by Tom and seconded by Cindy.
No,
Whereas the mayor
Cindy's not
declared,
here.
Cindy's not
Sorry,
here. Your
Madam
worship.
Mayor. Cindy Kelsey is not here.
okay, sorry, this is awfully loud. All right, so moved by Tom and seconded by Victor. Victor's here.
Yes, he is.
Whereas the mayor declared a state of emergency on March 26, 2020 in response to COVID-19, and whereas council postponed the mandatory septic reinspection program on April 1st, 2020 until further notice. And whereas a considerable amount of work is required before we can move forward with the program in 2021. And whereas staff are requesting direction from council on whether to, number one, reinstate the septic reinspection program for 2021, or number two, postpone the septic reinspection program for 2021. Now, therefore, it be it resolved that council directs staff to proceed with, and I need somebody to tell me whether it's option one or option two. Bill, go ahead.
I would support option number 2, Madam Mayor.
Okay,
And your worship, it's Tom here. I agree with Councillor McDonald. I would support option number 2. I think that in light of what's happening in our area with the COVID thing, and I think we should, and there's so much work to be done, I think we should postpone it for another year. I would support that.
okay. So Tom and Victor, you're the mover and seconder. Are you both agreeable to option number 2?
Yes.
This is Victor, and I am
Victor?
in support of option number 2 as well.
Okay, then I'm going to call the vote. Therefore, it be it resolved that council directs staff to proceed with option number 2, which is to postpone the septic reinspection program for 2021. Any further discussion? Is there anyone voting no? Motion's carried. Okay, number 7, Development Services again, community halls and outdoor rinks, moved by Victor and seconded by Elwin. Whereas the Manager of Development Services, CBO, presented a report to council at the November 10th, 2020 meeting, recommending that the halls remain closed for the remainder of 2020. Oh, sorry. And whereas council deferred the decision to keep the halls closed for the remainder of 2020, pending further information from KFL&A Public Health as to the requirement for safety plans. And whereas staff have received confirmation from KFL&A Public Health that safety plans are required for each of the community halls as well as the rinks. And whereas the Manager of Development Services, CBO, has received interest in opening the outdoor rinks along with the respective shelters and recommends that we go ahead and open the rinks. And whereas all hall renters, users of both the community halls and the outdoor rinks will be required to follow the necessary protocols, which will be outlined in the respective safety plans. Now, therefore, it be it resolved that council approve the recommendation of staff to open the outdoor rinks only one day. And further, that council directs staff to either, number 1, open the community halls starting January 4th, 2020, or
One.
number 2,
Should be 2021, Mayor Smith.
oh, sorry, 2021, okay. Or wait until the health restrictions relax and we go back to green level. So what do we want to do with that?
Madam Mayor, I just have a question.
Go ahead, Brent.
What I was wondering was, do we have any indication that the townships in our area that did open their facilities, are they planning on changing their policies? Have we heard anything of that?
I can speak to
Kathy?
that if you wish, Madam Mayor. Yes, North Frontenac Township, and I have received, and I have given Andy a copy of that as well. They have opened up their halls, and there has been no issues to this date. They have all their safety plans all ready to go. They're done. They're already opened, and they have those. I didn't ask them in regards to any of their rinks because I'm not sure how many outdoor rinks they do have, but they have opened the halls and they have their safety plans. And so if council's wish is for us to go ahead and open up the halls, Andy will prepare the safety plans in conjunction with looking at the North Frontenac ones, North Frontenac Townships, because they are very good and very, very specific, which follows in regards to a lot of our protocols now anyway.
Actually, just a clarification. My understanding is that yes, the neighboring townships did, and they took that decision a while back.
Yes.
That was when we were in green, and we're no longer in green in this area. So I guess I'm curious as to whether or not there has been some indication that they are planning on a change in their policy. In other words, they decided to open and now they're contemplating reversing that. So I was just wondering if there's been any indication of that sort of conversation taking place.
No, not that I'm aware of.
But we are aware that Dr. Moore says on Monday that we are creeping towards orange.
Yes, and orange
So-
would be have a lot more restrictions. And until we get into that, we really don't know. We'll just have to advise council accordingly.
Okay. Bill?
Yes, I was going to make the same comment. I won't repeat what Brent said, but that was one of the comments I was going to make. There are changing conditions almost hourly in regard to the COVID thing. And I'm highly concerned that we don't have the staff in which to police making sure that people go around to these halls, ensuring that everybody's living up to the protocol. So if you're calling a vote in for us from my chair in regard to whether we should move forward opening the halls and the rinks, I would probably not support that at this point. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I had a question.
Go ahead, Sherry.
I was just wondering if possible, I know it's difficult to be a bit selective, but I know there are two groups in particular, if everyone wasn't comfortable in just completely opening the halls. If for an option, I know that the youth group a bit, and that they kind of fall under their own mandate through the ministry. And I know that seniors, there was a request from a seniors group. Would it be possible to open, not to everyone, but just maybe to the two small groups? Would that be more manageable? I'm just wondering, I think those are the two groups that are really at risk for mental health and perhaps needing an opportunity for an outlet.
How do we feel about that? It's very difficult when you are dealing with a community hall to only have certain users use it. I think if we want to open, we need to set a protocol that if everyone can meet it, they can use the facility. I think it would be difficult to say no to some and yes to others.
I understand that. Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
What do others
Your
think?
worship, Tom here, your
Go ahead.
worship.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm in kind of agreement with Councillor McDonald that I'd wait until we get back to a green. I think that lately what's happening in the KFL area is not good. And I think we're just opening up the Pandora's box here to create more problems. So, and the fact is that it would create an extra load to try to make sure these halls were properly sanitized after each use. So I think we have to wait until we go back to the green level, and I can't support opening.
So Victor and Elwin are the mover and seconder. So you're saying number 2, which is wait until the health restrictions relax and we go back to green level. Elwin, are you
Madam Mayor,
happy
it's
with
Victor
that?
here. Yes.
Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, it's Victor here.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I just have a question. Is it possible to open the rinks but keep the halls closed?
Correct.
I think with the outside exercise, like with the rinks, there is less of a risk.
I think that's the way the motion is written. Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're correct,
The-
Madam
the-
Mayor.
So at the bottom and further that council directs staff to either refers to just the community halls.
Correct.
So the rest of the
Okay,
motion,
thank
okay. So Victor
Yes,
and
I
Elwin,
just don't have it. I don't have it in front of me anymore. I don't have the internet access.
okay.
Okay.
Nikki,
I just want to clarify to Councillor Cameron and his question. I did some more research on my own, and since North Frontenac, South Frontenac, the City of Kingston have all opened, their halls have had no issue whatsoever. The cleaning and the protocols that those townships have been putting in place have been being followed. They have had no complaints or anything. So I feel like Sherry said, for mental health issues, some groups do need to get out and start moving forward. I still think it's not about, it's about living with COVID. It's not about managing it. It's how are we going to go forth and live with it going forward. And to stay closed, I just don't agree with it.
okay, so we're back to the mover and the seconder. What do you want the last paragraph to read? Where is Elwin? I haven't heard from him.
Yes.
Elwin? Okay, so Elwin, you want number 2 to wait until restrictions, or number 1, start January 4th, 2021?
Oh, maybe number 1.
Number 1, Victor?
Well, I'm afraid that I have to go with number 2. I think we're going to be going from yellow to orange real quick here, and I can't, in good conscience, say that it's okay to open up the halls.
Okay,
So
now we're in a pickle.
Well, what if I also support number 1, but then in the when the vote is called, I will vote against it.
Okay, that's fair.
That will,
So
that will allow it to move forward.
the motion then is open community halls starting January 1st, 2021. And that's the motion we're voting on.
Can we have a
And
recorded vote on that, Your Worship?
Kathy, can you record if I call the names?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. Elwin Burke,
Yes.
Sherry Wan, Sherry,
Sorry, I'm sorry, can you read the question again, Madam Mayor? Which one is
You're-
which?
you're voting on opening the community halls starting January 4th, 2021.
Okay, and what was the other option?
The other one was wait until restrictions relax back to green level.
I guess I would vote to green level because I was thinking of not opening it up to the whole public.
Okay, so you're voting no.
Yes.
Okay, Nikki,
Yes.
Victor,
Opposed.
Tom Dewey,
No.
Brent,
It's not exactly the wording I'd like. I'll support it. I was hoping that we'd have something a little different, but I'm going.
okay, so that's a yes.
Yes. And what was Victor's? Sorry, Madam Mayor.
Victor was no.
No.
Okay, thank you.
And, okay, Bill McDonald,
No.
and Cindy's not with us,
No.
and myself, no. What's the numbers, clerk?
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 no's and 3 yeses.
So the motion has been defeated.
Well,
Now,
basically,
what
it's
does,
just the second part. You just basically, it's and further that council directs staff to either open the halls and basically you're going to wait until the restrictions. So you're basically using number 2.
Right.
okay, all right, yes. Okay,
Okay.
we're clear with that? Yeah.
May I ask for clarification? Where does where do the rinks fall into that?
Right.
Well, the rinks will be open because the first part of the first part of that resolution is now therefore be it resolved that council approve the recommendation staff to open the outdoor rinks only once they are ready. So I mean, if they're ready in later December, then they can go. And further, they direct staff in regards to the halls only. And it says number 2, wait, for the community hall to wait until the restrictions relax. And
But we
what
just
can do
defeated
is
that
say
motion.
yeah, what we'll do is then council direct staff to either and say the community basically will put in community halls, that the community halls wait, okay?
Right. So
Okay.
that the
Not
community
open.
halls, number 2.
Yeah, not open until the health restrictions, okay? I've made that amendment if that's all right with the mover and the seconder.
I guess in future, we need to separate motions like this. Just makes
Yes,
it
that's
simpler.
correct.
Bill?
Yes, Madam Mayor, through you, Madam, I'm just wondering if we're opening the rinks and that sort of thing, that each of the rinks have warming shelters. I'm wondering if we're going to have the ability to post the limit of number of people that are going to be allowed into those shelters at any one time, because I'm sure it's going to be very difficult within those small buildings to maintain the social distancing. So I think we have to put some kind of announcement out and maybe post instructions at these sites.
Madam Mayor, I think I'll let Andy speak to that because he's made recommendations on that.
Yeah,
Andy?
I was concerned about that as well. My recommendation for the warming shelters would be to keep them closed, because if there's heat in there, I would think that it would be hard to restrict the numbers if it's a cold day. My recommendation would be to open the rinks, but keep the warming shelters closed, because they are small.
Yes. And there isn't often adults there who would enforce the protocols?
Yeah, there's not going to be any township staff there to enforce them
Right.
anyways.
Right. Okay, all right. Let's move on to the next one. We're at Public Works.
Well, you
And
have to make a, Madam Mayor,
yes,
did you get the vote on that?
yes, the
resolution?
vote was carried. Sorry, yes, it was carried.
Yes,
With using number 2.
correct.
All right. Okay, now we're going to move to Public Works. And our first is the activity report. So we have a motion moved by Brent and seconded by Nikki that council receive the Public Works activity report as prepared by the Public Works manager dated December the 8th, 2020 for information. Discussion? Bill?
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, to Tyson. The new sidewalk plow, is it just a plow or is it a snow blower that in actual fact you can load the snow off the sidewalks into the dump trucks?
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's a snow blower. We don't own a plow yet. Lots of opportunities for other attachments as well, but we did buy the chutes tall enough to load straight into the back of a tandem.
Good, thank you.
Hey, Brent?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tyson, just a quick question. I know in the past we've had receptacles or kind of boxes outside of the gates of our township garages. So if residents need to grab some sand, yeah, we've done them sort of a courtesy on that. I was wondering, is that still our policy? Would we still be doing that?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yeah, both boxes are actually not on the outside. So one of them in Hinchinbrook isn't actually on the outside of the gate, but you can easily walk through with a pail and get sand. And the one in Mountain Grove, you can drive right up to. They're both ready to go.
Good. Okay, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, is there anyone voting no to the motion? Motion's carried. Okay, delegation of authority. This one is moved by Sherry and seconded by Cindy. That council receive the report entitled Delegation of Authority, Application for Approval to Expropriate, prepared by the Deputy Clerk, and further that council pass a bylaw to delegate authority later in the meeting to commence expropriation proceedings for parts 1 to 5 on the draft expropriation plan prepared by Tom McDonald, OLS.
Madam Mayor,
Mayor Smith,
you'll have to
you'll need-
change Cindy. You'll have to change Cindy's. She's
Oh,
not here.
right.
so-
Okay, let's put Bill in there.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So Sherry and Bill.
I do have a question through you, Madam Mayor, if I may.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, to Tyson, when the information we received that you heard nothing from any of the landowners in the area, no response from any of them. Is that correct or just an oversight?
I'll have to verify that with Cindy. As far as I know, we did not hear back from Mr. Arnie, but I thought we did hear back from the other property owners, and so I'll follow up with Cindy on that.
I can confirm I didn't hear from any of them. We sent the letters out in September and didn't receive any replies, at least from my office.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, hearing no other comments, all those in favor? I can see everybody right now, except Victor. Anyone voting no? Motion's carried. Okay, Public Works still road allowance between concessions 5 and 6 Hinchinbrook. This is moved by Elwin and seconded by Nikki. Whereas Council passed bylaw 2019-53 at its November 12th, 2019, restricting the common law access to the road allowance between concessions 5 and 6 Hinchinbrook due to immediate safety concerns. And whereas the owners of part of lot 26 concession 6 have been unable to access their property and have been working with staff to reach an alternative option for access. And whereas council receives the presentation from David and Nicole Travers for information. Now therefore be it resolved that council directs staff to consult with Rito to determine any development restrictions and to obtain preliminary estimate from qualified contractors for the cost to bring the road up to municipal standard and a private road standard. Discussion.
Your worship, on this one, Tom here. I believe
Go
that
ahead.
Dave and Nicole Travers, on my notes that I had on my sheet, they're online and they would want to speak to this. That's what I understand, right, Kathy? Or Cindy?
Yes,
Yes.
I do believe Dave is on the line. I don't have his video or audio. Oh, he's coming on now. Dave, can you hear us?
I don't have my audio on because we live in the forest near Verona and video's not that good.
We feel your pain.
So we've been working with the township now since about 2017. We've had 3 on-site visits to the road, and most recently with Tyson and Cindy. And you know, we just want to get access to our property. We're both you know, we want to build, but we also run a small business that needs the products that are sitting on that 100 acres. We run a small sawmill, and I know a lot of small businesses took a big hit during COVID, but businesses like mine that provide things for hobbyists, like since we run a custom sawmill, a lot of hobby woodworkers are wanting a lot more products. Plus, we also make things like you know, cutting boards and small furniture all sorts of wildlife habitats that we sell in Verona, and we also sold in Charlotte Lake, but unfortunately the gift store we sold through went out of business due to COVID. So that's why we really, put them in 400 acres so we can carry on with what we're doing. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
No problem. Okay, Bill, go ahead.
Yes, I'm just wondering, Dave or maybe Tyson could give us information. I'm fully aware of this road and these bridges and that sort of thing and the condition of them, but what's the actual distance of that road? And can you give me an estimate about what distance of that road is actually underwater?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I would say that there's probably at least close to a kilometer of road total, and I would say over 50% of it is underwater. If you look on the map at the bottom of the report, it's a huge body of water that it's crossing.
Which is why we need to talk to the Conservation Authority as to what they would allow, if anything, right?
Absolutely. We need to talk to the Conservation Authority just to change a dry culvert in a roadway. So if something like this is a major, to build that road up, you need to go out several meters to get a wide enough base, and it'd be a major environmental impact. So we're just working to try to work with the property owners to meet somewhere in the middle here. So it's going to be millions to bring the road up to municipal standards, but it's also, I would say, almost unsafe to leave it the way it is. So that's what we're working on.
Are there any other options on the property to put the road in a different place out of the water?
Through you, Madam Mayor, we have briefly discussed that, and just by kind of driving around that whole entire block, trying to visualize it, it's the body of water is so huge, it doesn't matter which way you come at it, there's no high and dry way to do this.
Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Not a
Victor?
good situation. Yeah, go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, I just have a question. Of course, it makes sense to consult with the Conservation Authority. Now, is there any cost to obtaining the preliminary estimates? If there is a cost related to getting these quotations, then I would say talk to the Conservation Authority first before we start going out looking for estimates.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I've got good relationships with some local contractors that wouldn't mind coming out and giving me a price on the project. But the first step is to talk to the Conservation Authority before we waste their time, because they may shut this down right away.
Okay,
Madam Mayor, I can certainly update council on that. I have contacted the CAO at Rideau Valley Conservation Authority, and she's going to be talking with her staff and certainly look at a date and send it back to us.
Okay, good. So the first step is the Conservation Authority, and then to get contractors to give us an estimate. Okay, any further discussion on the motion? When the information comes back, there'll be more to talk about at that point. Is there anyone voting no to the motion? Motion's carried. So let's investigate. Okay, cemeteries. I have a motion moved by Bill and seconded by Tom. Whereas request for quotation admin 2020-01 RFQ was released on November the 12th, 2020 and closed on November the 27th, 2020 for cemetery maintenance and grave opening and closing services for a 4-year period. And whereas 3 quotations were received. And whereas the CAO clerk, treasurer, and administrative assistant have reviewed all the quotations to ensure the requirements of the RFQ and the procurement bylaw have been met. And whereas the CAO clerk is recommending that the quotation from DG Young Concrete Burial Vaults be accepted as the lowest quotation for cemetery maintenance and grave opening and closing services for a 4-year period. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council approve the recommendation of the CAO clerk to accept the quotation from DG Young Concrete Burial Vaults for the cemetery maintenance and grave opening and closing services for a 4-year period starting January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2024. And further, that the CAO clerk be authorized to obtain a purchase order. Discussion. All those in favor? Oh, Bill, did you have something?
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor. I'm a little confused in regard to the numbers that are on the various RFPs here. I'm just wondering, is it the number at the top of the charts? For example, 44,000, 70,000, 47,000. Does that include all of the numbers that are underneath? Perhaps someone could explain that to me.
No, it does not. That's separate this time with the quotations. The top number is the general maintenance. That's the grass cutting, all those normal things that they do for, snow removal, all that during the main contract. So that's what the 44,000 is. It's very hard to determine how many graves will be have to be opened, and so there are separate prices for those. So we always did that in previous years. It's just that we never separated it on a resolution for council. It always worked that way. So now you have it showing the split between what it will cost to open and close graves. That's why it's done that way. I can give you some numbers if you wish in regards to when we go to do budget, we will put some type of a figure in because it is one of those things that is very hard to determine how many graves we're going to open or close or, disinterments or any of those items. So that's why we've always had the quotation or the, contracts always were for the general maintenance, which is the overall part of taking care of the cemetery.
Does that answer your question, Bill?
Well, through you, Madam Mayor, I'm just looking at, will there be a distorted number if we start applying some of the numbers that are underneath the RFP? Because, for example, full internment 200 versus 425 versus 2,000.
Right.
How do those numbers guide?
That's why you just have DG Young's. We're recommending for him to have all of it, not just the maintenance, but also the opening and closing. Because in overall, and his performance has proven we have him now. No, we're not going with the other two. We're just going with DG Young. His price is a little bit more for opening and closing of the graves, but the overall maintenance of the cemetery is cheaper than the rest of them.
Okay, as long as we're satisfied. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes. And I mean, the numbers and I know I had Donna, she provided with me numbers as to how many openings and closings and things we've had in regards to cremations or burials over the number of years. And they roughly go from like 39 was the highest, I think, to the lowest of about 25 in a year, or, over the last 4 years.
Okay. All right. I'm going to call the vote on that motion. Is there anyone voting no? Okay. Committee and other reports. Moved by Victor and seconded by Brent. That council received the Eastern Ontario Trail Alliance November the 12th, 2020 board meeting for information. Discussion? Is there anyone voting no? Motion's carried. Okay. Quinte Conservation Authority. Moved by Sherry and seconded by Victor that council received the approved minutes for the Quinte Conservation Board meeting held October 15th, 2020 for information. Any discussion? Anybody voting no? Motion's carried. Okay. Now, I've got appointment of deputy mayor. Am I in the right spot, Kathy? I don't have an agenda
Yeah.
in front of me.
Yes, you
Yes.
are. You're correct. You're in the right spot.
Okay, so I have a motion moved by Brent and seconded by Elwin that somebody be nominated for appointment of deputy mayor for the Township of Central Frontenac for the year 2020. Is anyone putting their name in this motion?
I'll stand if nobody else wants the job.
Okay,
Well, my name's off the list, Madam Mayor, because I'm on county. So I can't.
okay. So do I hear any other takers besides Tom Dewey? Brent and Elwin, are you happy to put Tom Dewey's name on this motion?
Mayor
I
Smith,
move
I
the
think I saw
nomination.
Nikki's hand go up.
Pardon?
I think I saw Councillor Gowdy's hand go up.
Nikki?
Yes, I'd let my name stand.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Nikki is going to let her name stand for deputy. Tom, are you going to let your name stand or are you going to withdraw?
Well, I was in last year, so I mean, I'll stand if I don't know if she has the time, but I'll leave my name in there for the moment anyway. We'll see how it goes. If that's okay.
That's fine. Okay, Kathy, what do we do now?
Okay, so you have to, now you would have to, now that you have two names in, that you will have to ask Madam Mayor, there'll be like, each of them could say a few words as to why they would like to run for deputy mayor. And then you vote under the procedural bylaw.
Okay, and the vote is open vote or closed vote?
It's an open vote.
Okay. All right. Nikki, do you want to go first with your 2-minute speech?
Yeah. I guess that I've always seen it as something that each district takes a turn at it, and Hinchinbrook hasn't had a turn yet. And I do have the time. My job has become very, very flexible over the past month. And I would like to be able to represent Central Frontenac if and ever needed.
Okay. Tom.
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, I'm happy to stand because I think this year I have been able to do an awful lot in the role as deputy mayor because of the COVID thing. But I have attended a lot of meetings outside council meetings, and I've been on council now. I guess this is my 9th year, right? Wait a minute, third. I guess this is my 9th year, and I've always enjoyed the job, and I've got the time to do it, and I'd be happy to put as much effort in to make the job work as I can. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. You guys, and I don't mean to. Yeah, so that's all I want to say.
Okay.
So Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I have just put in, then in that motion is that Tom Dewey and Nikki Gowdy put forth their names for deputy mayor, and then you go ahead with your election.
Okay, so first of all, is there anyone else who wants to put their name forward? We're supposed to do that 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So calling last time, anyone else want to put their name in the hat for deputy mayor? Okay, so nominations are closed. So now we're going to vote. Kathy, do you want to do the vote?
Yes, I will. Okay, we'll start with Madam Mayor as to, well, I guess I'll start with Tom Dewey, and I'll start with Madam Mayor.
Okay,
Tom Dewey or Nikki Gowdy?
Nikki.
Nikki, okay. Cindy Kelsey's not with us. Bill McDonald.
Nikki's fine.
Brent Cameron.
Nikki.
Tom Dewey. He gets to vote.
That's a tough one. We can't vote for, well, I guess we vote for ourselves, yes. Tom Dewey.
Okay, yes, you can. Victor Hayes.
I'm going to stand on precedent and vote for Nikki.
Okay. And Nikki Gowdy.
Nikki, I guess.
Sherry Wan.
Nikki.
And Elwin Burke.
Nikki.
Okay, so there you go, Madam Mayor. Nikki Gowdy will
Congratulations.
be the deputy mayor. So you can
Okay,
do numbers, you can do you carry this one. We put their names already nomination. Now you can just go on 14A.
okay.
Madam-
So, yes,
Madam Mayor, before we
Yes.
leave the issue, may I make a short comment?
sure.
Just because it's a short meeting. Tom's comment reminded me of while I was campaigning, I went to Roscoe Garrett's house to ask for his vote for mayor. And he gave it to me, but he said, you know, I want you to know there are more liars in Ulster Township than anywhere else in the world. And I said, why? Why is that, Roscoe? He said, I went around campaigning for council one time, and he said, everybody promised to vote for me, but when election day came, if I hadn't voted for myself, I wouldn't have got any votes. So there you go, Tom.
Congratulations, Nikki.
Madam Mayor,
Okay,
so Madam Mayor, I don't think you
Yes.
have to read 14A because we already know that we had nominations, they closed, we had 2 names, so really you go on to resolution number 15.
Oh, okay, so I don't do 14 or 14A. Okay, there we go.
That's
All right,
correct.
so moved by Brent and seconded by Elwin, that Nikki Gowdy be approved as deputy mayor for the Township of Central Frontenac for the 2021 year. Discussion? Anyone voting no? Motion's carried. Congratulations, Nikki. The work will begin.
Hey, thumbs up, Nikki.
It's okay. All right. We're moving on. Number 16 is communications and correspondence. Moved by Bill and seconded by Sherry. That council received the following correspondence received December the 8th, 2020 for information, and it's number 1 to 14. Any discussion? Bill?
Madam Mayor, I just wondering, there's a lot of municipalities writing and supporting or complaining or voting against the Bill 229 in regard to the conservation authorities and what the province of Ontario is doing. I'm just trying to remember whether or not we've supported any of these motions in the past. I think we have, but I can't remember. Maybe somebody could enlighten me.
Kathy, I think we actually sent our own motions to this effect.
That's correct. We did at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Okay.
And
Okay, is there anyone?
Sorry,
Go ahead.
Your Worship. Correct me
Go
if I'm
ahead,
wrong,
Tom.
Your Worship, but the Mr. Clark on the weekend or at least on Monday, pardon me, after the 7 people resigned from the Greenbelt Marine, he made a statement on Monday, and it looks like they're now going to support. They're supporting Ducks Unlimited, and it looks like they're now supporting the conservation authorities a little bit more. At least that's what it sounded
Madam
like.
Mayor, if I may, it's Victor. Yes,
Yeah,
I
go
just
ahead.
got I got an email message from the manager of Rideau Valley, and the Ducks Unlimited. Yeah, that's a blind alley. That's a sop that's been thrown out. The matters of consequence in the Schedule 6 have not been rescinded. The conservation authorities are going to be gutted. They're basically going to be done. And it doesn't look like this government is listening to anybody.
Okay, so the fight's not over.
Oh, well, that's kind of
I think
different.
the
from what you
fight's
said.
over and we've lost.
Yeah. Okay, back to the motion of correspondence. Is voting no to the correspondence? Motion's carried. Okay, correspondence requiring action. Municipal Finance Officers Association of Ontario. Okay, this is moved by Nikki and seconded by Bill. Whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has had significant financial and operational impacts on Ontario municipalities, and whereas municipalities have had to divert resources towards addressing the immediate needs of the pandemic and maintaining service delivery standards despite evolving restrictions and limited funds. And whereas the Government of Ontario has delayed timelines with respect to several pieces of legislation, and whereas the Government of Ontario has regulated municipal asset management through Regulation 588-17, Asset Management Planning for Municipal Infrastructure under the Infrastructure for Jobs and Prosperity Act 2015, and whereas Reg 588-17 mandates that every municipality shall prepare an asset management plan in respect to its core municipal infrastructure assets by July 1st, 2021, and in respect to all of its other municipal infrastructure assets by July 1, 2023. And whereas the key components of an asset management plan, as required by the regulations, are 1, infrastructure asset inventory, 2, levels of service, and 3, life cycle management and financial strategy. And whereas there is a concern amongst Municipal Finance Officers Association of Ontario members and their municipalities that current capacity challenges, staff, and lack of available resources will result in limitations for purposeful asset management planning. And whereas Ontario municipalities do not anticipate the current capacity challenges to be resolved in the short term. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Township of Central Frontenac supports MFOA's letter to the Ministry of Infrastructure requesting a 1-year extension of deadline in Reg 588-17, Asset Management Planning for Municipal Infrastructure under the Infrastructure for Jobs and Prosperity Act 2015, so that all municipalities can focus on the immediate needs of the pandemic and engage in municipal asset management planning when capacity challenges are resolved. Whew, that was a long one. Okay, any discussion on that one? That is a Michael McGovern one.
And Michael's here as well, so if you have any questions.
Okay, there's no questions. Basically, we need another year. Okay,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, MFOA is very good for supporting all small municipalities. I do feel that what they've put in there is absolutely correct. That being said, Central Frontenac, I hope to bring to council early in the new year our asset management plan, which will be done at least 6 months ahead of time, if not a year and a half ahead of time, if they grant this extension. So it's just very important to me to have council support behind MFOA here.
Oh, okay.
So, Madam Mayor, Victor.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, in this resolution, it doesn't say what we are doing with this other than Central Frontenac Council supports the delay. Should we not be sending this to the appropriate minister?
So the letter that was sent, that MFOA sent, was to Honorable Laurie Scott, Minister of Infrastructure. So it was my assumption that we were sending it to her.
Yeah, but it's not in the resolution itself.
Okay.
So
well, council supports it. We'll make sure we get it to the right parties.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'm getting feedback or another meeting.
I am too, Madam Mayor. I'm hearing as well. There's other voices.
It sounds almost like it's playing our meeting from the beginning. It sounds like Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
But I heard her ask for a declaration of pecuniary interest, but that was Tom. So this has to have been a different meeting that is playing. So I have no idea why it's doing that.
Cynthia, we need to get on Zoom.
We do. We need to get on Zoom.
Yeah.
We need to get on Zoom and forget this WebEx.
Okay, let's-
Can I
Okay,
support that?
well,
Can we seriously consider getting on Zoom? I have problems with WebEx every time, and when I do Zoom, it just seems to work.
For sure. I think, Cindy, we can look at that for our next meeting on the 22nd December. We already talked about going ahead and subscribing to it. So we'll get on that. And Michael, we're going to have to pay the bill.
Well, I
Can
was
I
thinking maybe we
say,
should buy a mask.
just do it.
Buy a mask
just
and
do
might
it.
help us get there quicker.
Okay, let's move on. It's 5:30. All right, so that motion, is there anyone voting no to it? Okay, that motion is carried. And
Thank you,
send it
Council.
wherever it should go. Okay. We are at 18. Okay, bylaws. This is moved by Victor and seconded by Brent. That bylaw 2020-62, being a bylaw to delegate authority to the CAO, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 8th day of December 2020. Discussion? Anyone voting no? Motion's carried. Okay, that was 18. Okay, next is new or other business.
Madam
Community
Mayor,
Chris. Yes,
I'd-
go ahead.
I'd like to ask a question. What's going on with the school in Hinchinbrook? I haven't heard anything in recent memory, and I wonder if this is going to go on forever. I think some effort to do something about this should be done.
Well, that can be for another agenda, Elwin. It's not on this agenda. You can ask the staff for a report. I think the last report was a number of months ago. So let's bring that forward in January. How's that?
Okay.
Okay, good enough. All
Thank you.
right. Community Christmas dinner notice under new business. What is that? Oh, it's the motion. Sorry.
Yes, it's a motion, as I think it basically speaks for itself. I think other years council has contributed money support to the community Christmas dinner, but because of COVID, they're not having it. So this is a resolution then in place of that, the council may wish to donate to the food bank.
Okay, I'm going to start doing these motions with a blank a little different. The mover is Sherry and the seconder is Tom. And how much money do you want to put in the motion? So we know what we're voting on. Sherry?
I'd be happy with those. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sherry. Sherry's muted.
I can hear you now, Sherry. No. She had 5 fingers up. 500?
I was thinking 500, but I'm open to whatever other people feel.
Okay.
Just, Madam Mayor, here, maybe Michael's not with us yet, but how much money have we actually spent in grants to others this particular year? Is it down because of things like the fire wasn't on or all those things? If we haven't spent a lot of money, I would be in favor of $1,000 for this one if we haven't spent a lot of money in other grants to others.
Well, Michael's still on the line.
I believe that our grant, I don't have a number right on me, but I believe the grants are down partly because of the Legions getting exempted and not having, we normally put money aside for that. So $1,000 is easily swallowed up in the current budget.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay, good. I'm going to.
$1,000.
Good. All right. I'm going to read the motion. Moved by Sherry and seconded by Tom. That council recognize food insecurity is a real and growing issue to the residents of our community, particularly during the pandemic, and further recognize and extends its thanks to the North Frontenac Food Bank, including all its volunteers, for their efforts at addressing food insecurity in our community. And further, that council consider a donation to the North Frontenac Food Bank in the amount of $1,000 in lieu of its usual support of the Sharbot Lake Community Christmas Dinner. Anyone voting no? Motion's carried. Okay, we have another bylaw. This is moved by Bill and seconded by Elwin, that bylaw 2020-63 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the that's our adjournment meeting or motion. Is there any, let me go back, any notice of motion?
No, none.
Any giving of notice?
No,
Is there any other business to come before council?
none.
Okay, so now we're going to have this motion, Bill and Elwin, that bylaw 2020-63 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular council meeting held December the 8th, 2020, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 8th day of December 2020, and further that the meeting be adjourned until 4 p.m. December the 22nd, 2020, to be held virtually. Anyone voting no? Okay, motion's carried.
Madam Mayor, if I can, I want to remind everyone, we have a Committee of Adjustment meeting this Thursday, and it's quite a heavy schedule, so I'm hoping that we get a good turnout for that meeting. Thank you.
I can't be there, Bill, so, and I was going to send an email. So others can be there?
I can be there.
This is Victor. I'll be there.
Okay. Nikki, Tom, Brent?
Good, as long as we have a quorum.
It all depends. Mike's having surgery on Friday or on Thursday, and I let Crystal know. And it's depending on the time. We're just waiting for a time. But I hope.
Okay. Okay.